hi YouTube, Brian White here on my path to Paphos. You'll have seen a couple of videos already to say that I'm over here, then I've set myself down, we've even found a house. But I've got a couple of questions which have come up on the line, asking me what the situation is for all sorts of things. Now, there's a lot I'm still very ignorant on, so I'm not going to tell you what they are, but if I give you a little bit of an idea as to what the journey has been like for me up to now. You've seen all the postings I've done in the UK before, where it was very, very complicated, very difficult to find things out. Well, I came a week last Wednesday to Paphos, and the Thursday morning we went straight round to Gwynny's. Now, Gwynny's red tape services. They're illegal services, and they specialise in doing doing immigration and all the things associated with that. So I decided I was going to pop round there. I called them up in the UK and said, can I come round? And they said yes. So I called round on the first day I was here, and I had a list as long as your arm, because you know what I'm like. I've been fretting over how I was going to find these things out. And like most things on the internet, you'll ask a question, you'll get 20 answers, one of which may be correct. It could be that none of them are. So trying to find your way through that was like trying to find a needle in a haystack. So I went to Gwynny's, and within the first few minutes of her answering us, she'd answered almost all our questions. Now, there are some things, as I say, which I can't answer you, and I'm not even going to try to until I've got the right facts. But I've just got a list here. There's Justin or Justine, my eyesight's going, I can't read properly. Justine, it looks like. Hi Justine, new subscriber to the channel. Pleased to have you on the channel, Justine. Thank you very much for subscribing. And if you're not a subscriber or anybody else, please consider that, and along with giving me a thumbs up, because it really does make a big difference to get this channel seen by more people. I'm just newly monetized, and that's down to the people who've subscribed and the people who've watched, so thank you for that. But she asked me lots of questions on here, saying that she's starting out her relocation to Paphos from the UK, and follow my journey with much interest, so thank you for doing that. Wonder if I could explain a few things on the YESI contributions. Now, YESI is the health service over here, spelled G-E-S-Y, but the healthcare cover. Well, I'm not totally up on this at the moment, so I do need some more information. However, this is coming from the legal services where I went to, some of the questions that they were answering for me. So basically, I'm 63, my retirement age in the UK is 67, my wife is 61 and hers again is 67, and that makes differences. The other thing is I'm coming in on an Irish citizenship and an Irish passport as an EU citizen, so therefore it's very different on some of the things which may be for the UK citizens. But basically on the healthcare, we've been told that we're going to have to purchase health insurance, which we're told is going to be anywhere between about 150 and 400 euros per month. Sorry, per year. Per year. Not per month, per year. Which isn't too unreasonable. The standard of healthcare, from what I've seen over here, does seem to be extremely good, and there's none of this waiting around for appointments, anything like that. You tend to get into places very, very quickly. You do need health insurance though. Private healthcare is not cheap, it's anything but. It can run into many tens of thousands if you have something serious happen. So we'll be getting the healthcare out. The cost depends on previous medical history. So knowing me, I'll be at about £400 a month, a year, but you get the idea. So it's not horrendously expensive. When I reach 67 though, I can get the yellow form, the S1 form, from the NHS in the UK, and that will transfer my NHS contributions, or my NHS ability to claim, over to Cyprus. Now, we were thinking it's going to carry on for another few years until Sue gets hers, but what I was quite surprised at is when I reach 67, even though Sue isn't, I can apply for an S1 form for her too, since she's my spouse, and she'll be living over here as a resident. So from the time I reach 67, we're both covered on the S1 form and both get NHS cover, but in Cypriot hospitals. When she reaches 67, she can apply for her own, which was a really interesting thing for that. So from your question on healthcare and healthcare cover, I actually think that it's a lot easier than I was expecting it to be. It's not totally cheap. I think there's a small admin fee as well, even if you are covered, but I think it's a very small admin fee, you know, tens of euros rather than hundreds. Have I looked into contribution payments for the SDC, the Special Defence contributions? I haven't, but I believe that as a tax resident and apply for a non-dom status, which is what happened, I believe that we don't pay for 17 years. That's what Justine is saying, and I believe that's the case, but I didn't ask about that specifically. Obviously, as residents rather than citizens, we don't come under, even if I was young enough to come under for the National Service. I've told her I'm staying in Universal. Universal is great. I'll come back to that a little bit later as to where we are. Insofar as the residency itself, I expected to come over here, if you've watched previous videos, and spend weeks and weeks trying to get things sorted, get through all the red tape. And a lot of you, and I really appreciate your help on this, a lot of you said go and see somebody who knows what they're doing, has the legal services sorted out. I had a few names on here. The only reason I'm going for Gwynny's is that's one of the first ones I was advised to check out. And there's lots of other names came up on the comments on previous videos, so please, if you haven't seen them, check out some of the previous videos on this channel. But there are lots of people who have got good reputations, but without that I would have been struggling. So as an EU citizen, basically it's a very short process, a matter of days. It costs €20 for the residency. For me it becomes a permanent residency straight away. And I go down to the registration office, I hand over some paperwork which is pre-filled in by the red tape services, and I walk out with my MEU1 card, which, because I'm a European citizen, gives me the full right to live and work in Cyprus on a permanent basis. My wife, because she is married to an EU citizen, although she is not because she's a UK passport holder, will go in, and hers will take about 6 months to come through. She'll have temporary paperwork which allows her to act like this until her MEU2 card comes through. About the 6 month point she can get that MEU2 card. It comes through, that one comes through the post to her address. There are restrictions on that because it is a temporary residency which lasts 5 years, and there are restrictions as to how long she can be off the island of Cyprus before it's cancelled. But basically, with the MEU2 form, and again this is what I picked up from the solicitors up to now, so I don't claim to be an authority. Please do not quote me, but use this as guidance, please. But do not quote me. It's guidance only. But with the MEU2 form, it gives her all the rights that I have as an EU citizen over here, but just in Cyprus, not in Europe itself, just in Cyprus. The thing with that is that she doesn't need to be bringing in a certain amount of money, neither do I. We don't need to be proving income from anywhere, and we can work on the island. We have a visa on that, and that's straightforward. Now, her residency lasts for 5 years. At the end of the 5 years she has to apply to renew it, but when she renews it she'll be applying for a permanent residency, and I believe the permanent residency is actually 10 years and that, but it's a permanent residency then, so it makes things an awful lot easier for her. If you're not an EU citizen or married, before I go on, we have to have our marriage certificates apostolized. So we have to send off in the UK to get it verified. We send a marriage certificate off, there's some extra stamps put on, and that becomes an international acceptance, an international sign that the form is genuine. And it also depends how long we've been married. I think it's 5 years or more, but we've been married 37, so it doesn't matter for us. The third one is the MEU3 form, which I believe is known as a pink card, the MEU1 being a yellow card. And the pink card, that has different criteria on. I'm not totally sure what the limits are, but it's somewhere around about €3,000 per month income. But you're not allowed to work in Cyprus. So in other words, this income has to come in from the outside. You've got to be able to show it, and it's got to come into a Cypriot bank account. I believe that I, as an EU citizen, do not have to change my bank account to a Cypriot one. But you have to, for the MEU3, the pink slip, you have to apply for a Cypriot bank account. And you have to be able to show that you have monthly income of at least about 3,000, 2,700, 3,000, somewhere around there. I don't know the exact figure, from an outside source. Or you can have the golden ticket where you buy a new build house for at least €300,000 plus VAT, and that will allow you to have that temporary visa. And there's also other things about starting businesses up. But they give you the MEU3 form. It's a temporary residence again with a 5-year limit, which I don't believe, although I may be wrong on this one, I don't believe that you can make it permanent. I think it's an extension of temporary ones each time. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on that one, because I think I very well could be. But on that, you are still given those limitations for good. You don't have free travel through Europe because obviously you're still not an EU citizen, but you are given exemptions in Cyprus only. So that's what we are on the forms, the MEU1, MEU2 and MEU3, the yellow and the pink slips, as they call them, because there's been confusion in my head as to what's a pink slip, what's a yellow slip, what's these MEU cards. So that's what we have on those ones. Apart from that, what else did we find out? Well, that was pretty much it. Cars, I've had it pretty much confirmed. You can bring a car over 5 years old into the country if it's done within 12 months of your residency being granted, and you've got to have had that car registered and provable that was your car in the UK for at least 6 months. It's got to remain as your possession in Cyprus for at least 3 years afterwards, and it's got to be compliant as it comes in with all of the safety checks, such as MOTs and things, in the country of origin as it comes into the country, and it's got to be insured for that. You will have to pay for it to be registered over here. I still haven't had a definitive answer. I've had some people, Paul on Cars, I think it is. That's the guy from Marika and me. Who's just opened the bar. I didn't get the chance to get down there, Paul. I'm really sorry, I got tied up on things, but I believe you had a fantastic launch. I did see the live stream and I was really impressed with that on the Saturday when you started it, so best of luck with that new venture, Paul. But Paul did a video which, if you have a look on his Paul on Cars or Paul's Cars, whatever it is, you'll find the link in his Marika and me thing. But where he, if I read it right, says that you get an extra taxation on top of the car tax over here. And again, check with Paul. This is purely what I got from that. And I watched his video a few weeks ago, so it's gone to a degree. But if you pay, say, 500 euros on car tax, but it's an imported car from the UK over 5 years old, then you'll pay an extra levy on top of it depending upon the emissions. So say it was half as much again, I don't know what it is, but that would be 750. And of course that makes it difficult to sell because that would go with the car after you sell it. So it would be high car tax all the time. Don't quote me. Check Paul's channel out, leave a comment below if you would, because I'd love to know what the actual truth is. But you can certainly bring a car in, and I did a video recently, I think there's a link above if I can remember to put it in, about importing one of my own cars. It's still a possibility, it really is still a possibility. But yes, cars are more expensive second hand out here, but they don't rust, and if you're sensible in what you buy insofar as the make, then you can easily get the maintenance done. Parts are readily available for certain cars, but not others. So most of the Japanese cars are really well catered for, and the German cars, VW, Audi Group, BMWs and Mercedes, plentiful over here. If you're going to bring a Range Rover or a Jaguar, be prepared for 6 months wait for parts if you have an issue with it. But just with the shipping costs, with the import duty, you don't pay VAT on an older car like that because you're exempt that, but you'll still pay registration fees and an import duty and all sorts of things, and I'm thinking it's just not worth it. So I'd be quite willing to have a slightly older car because they don't rust, a well looked after one, and even pay a little bit extra because it's going to make things so much easier in the long run. So I doubt we will be bringing the car over now. Dogs wise, dogs has been something an issue for us, and we've decided not to bring our dogs over. The older one, who's 11, I seriously doubt that he would survive a summer out here. The younger one may be good, but there's so many places we can, although we don't want to lose her from the family, there's so many places we can put her where she'll be looked after and safe. My daughter, or even the people who bred her, because only ever bred one litter of dogs from the mum and dad. Mum and dad both lived with the breeder, and she adores going there. She has sleepovers. Our dog has sleepovers with her mum and dad, would you believe it? But she adores being there. In both places she would be adored and looked after, and we'd be able to see her when we come back. So that's where we are with that lot. There's an awful lot going on. What it means is Sue's not going to be coming over straight away. She's going to be doing lots of trips over between work, but for getting on for a year or so, I think Sue's not going to be able to come over until we get things sorted out with the dogs and see how we are, which is sad, but it gives me a chance to look for the work. I've already done a couple of auditions for work over here, and it seems I should have something going. Oh, one thing, I'm just going to put this on. One thing which is really, it tickled me somewhat, but it wound me up at the same time. I usually say if you'd like to help support the channel, please buy me a coffee. And buy me a coffee is something which is quite common. I just sort of say that. It does bring a little bit of extra income in, because I do need to earn my way over here to pay for all my upkeep. I'm not scrounging off the system over here. I have my pensions, but I'm still fairly tight at the moment on money, so I do need to work, and I'm quite happy to work. I'm not a scrounger off the state, and I don't intend to become one since I've gone to Cyprus. I'll pay my way. But somebody put a real nasty comment on about asking for a coffee and not even over there yet. You know, can't you pay your way? Well, paying my way means I have to work, and this is one of my jobs, doing the internet, doing YouTube videos, and this is earning me my income from outside Cyprus, so it's bringing into the economy. But this person's obviously quite ignorant of the fact of the buy me a coffee idea. It's an organisation which, it's almost like leaving a tip for somebody. If you enjoy the information, if you got anything from the information from it, if you like the video, it's a way of just sort of saying thank you for that, without being forced into it. And that's all the buy me a coffee is. A lot of YouTubers do it. It's nothing unusual. So I make no apologies for doing it, but I did sort of go back with both barrels. But I did think it was an absolutely ridiculous comment to make. But yes, I do say, and I'll show it here, if you would like to leave me a coffee, buy me a coffee gives a certain amount of money's worth just as a tip to the channel. And I usually do spend it on coffee, actually, because that saves me buying a coffee out of my own money, which means that it goes as if it's coming into the channel. So first of all, I thank everybody who's done that. Secondly, if you would like to leave me a coffee, buy me a coffee, there's a link below, but it's www.buymeacoffee.com/Brian James, as one word. And I really appreciate that if you can. The channel is newly monetized, but I'm not going to get any money from this for a good while until it comes up. But yes, I also had some very kind people who said what a caustic answer it was. I've had a few people who've complained about the fact of me coming over here on an Irish passport. Well, sorry, you might not like it, but I've actually been an Irish citizen since the day I was born. I just wasn't registered properly. And yesterday, being St. Patrick's Day, I walked around here proudly with my green t-shirt on, my green polo shirt, unbelievably proud to be an Irish citizen, unbelievably proud to be lucky enough to be an Irish citizen in this time. So I make no apologies for my Irishness and my Irish citizenship. And it was quite funny because yesterday on St. Patrick's Day my sister sent off her forms for her registration, so it was good on that. So hopefully there's been something useful in this one. It's brought you up to speed. I'm not going to tell you about the house. I'll tell you about the house at a later date. For those who know, we have a townhouse in Universal, which is nice and close to the town. We did get some wonderful offers of properties, but this was the one that really caught us and caught our heart. We were going to just rent for about 12 months and move on to somewhere more suitable, but this house is so good. I can see this being our long-term home for an awful long time. So keep watching the channel. Thank you very much for doing that. Keep subscribing if you can, because it all does help. And if you hit the like button, even if you didn't like it, give us a like. You can put a down figure if you like, but just hit the thumb one way or the other, because that gets YouTube's algorithms to show this video to more and more people and helps the channel to grow. And I'm going to carry on showing you around my path to Paphos as it carries on and I get settled in. For information, I am back to the UK tomorrow, but I'll be back on April the 1st to just move into my house, and I'll give you an update on what happens then. But till the next time, this is Brian White saying bye-bye, and enjoy my path to Paphos as much as I am. And if you are on a path to Paphos, keep watching. Let me know how you get on too. Bye-bye.